The Talking Stick with Mark Nichols.
Hey, welcome to The Talking Stick, brought to you by the Cabazon Band of Mission Indians. Remember, whether it's politics at the world or regional level, science or religion, this is your forum where we take you to places, speak with people, help shape a little view, and perhaps bring a little more texture to our lives. I'm Mark Nichols, your host. Welcome to The Stick. On this edition of The Talking Stick, we welcome back musician, photographer, and producer Carlos Reynosa. He's a proud fusion of Native American and European spirit and heritage. Carlos, as you may recall, began his career as an actor and a model before discovering his preference for the other side of the camera in 1983. As a professional photographer, he's worked with some of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. However, his first love has always been and will be music. In addition to producing albums and touring, Carlos also dedicates much of his time for charities and other organizations. He is here to tell us about new projects, his new CD. We'll also get a chance to be introduced to a fellow musician, Tawny Harrington, later in the program, and perhaps even a very, very special guest. So it's great to have him and great to see you.
Great to be here, Mark. I'm just as excited as last time, that's for sure, even more so.
And I'm excited. You were telling me that you had some friends and people said they got to see you on the show, and I like to hear people are watching. So.
Well, you know, a lot of people make it up to the hill, especially this hot summer. So I got to see a lot of people up there in the nice, cool air of Idlewild.
And Idlewild is such a gem. How's the trees and the rain?
You know, now that you look above town, you see that everybody's cleared out their dead trees, and it's really getting a lot better. I know some of the, the forest area is still the same, but I think it's getting a lot better. We had a couple of days of rain already this week, so.
It's a controversial issue, this whole thing about clearing forests and who's going to pay for it, but the clearing part, people want to keep it, but the truth is, it's pretty dangerous when that stuff gets dry.
Well, definitely, but also as dangerous as the stuff that they might spray. I mean, we no matter what companies say, we have to make sure that these things are safe. And the federal government might buy things at a certain quantity that we don't want sprayed over ourselves.
No quick fixes.
Right, and there's some organic alternatives, and that's the way that we think that it should go.
Now, I'm going to back up for a minute. That's not what this show's about. But,
okay.
but
You're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, but the problem with it is we were in a cycle without rain, and the beetles were taking advantage of the trees, and so what we need is some water.
Exactly.
And that's what we really need. Yeah.
And let's hope and pray for that.
All right. And
that's for sure.
That's something we can do. So what's been going on?
Well, a lot of things have changed in this world since the last time I was here.
Scary, some of
They're
them.
very scary. I can't believe some of the things that I've seen, especially one of my heroes, Cat Stevens. I can't believe he's not led into this country. Very difficult for me to see that live on TV. Somebody who wrote Peace Train.
Yeah.
I know that there's certain problems with different religions and different peoples, but I think a heart of a man is worn on his sleeve sometimes.
Where'd you get that line? Yeah, no. But honest to goodness, we're talking about, of course, Muhammad as a meaningful and important person to a lot of people's spiritual path, and our government and ourselves not just rejecting people who believe in Muhammad. And that's what happened with Cat Stevens.
Right. Well, I think if you go to the basis of any religion, you're going to find great things and great spiritual values. I think it's how man has manipulated whatever religion.
Well, you look at a right-wing conservative Christian, and you can have a right-wing conservative Muslim, and then you can have a Sufi, and you can have a spiritualist, right? I mean, that's where it's at. Right. So you got a new album coming out.
I do, For the People. A song I performed here last time, and I had just written about the war starting, and it was nice to record it and get it out, and I'm really excited about it. I feel strongly. It's a mixture of flute and song, and some important messages, I think, and not that most people don't realize these messages, but sometimes as an artist and person that thinks about these things, you got to keep pushing it forward.
Well, I think, generally everybody wants to be right, and they want to do the right thing. But we also tend to suffer from wanting to be part of a team, and sometimes we don't learn enough about things, I think, and so we make judgment errors, or we maybe don't make enough of a judgment on something. And so I think all Americans are good out there.
Of course they are, sure.
I think that...
but we still have to realize that to think that anybody in any other country is less than us is racist.
Well, you know, I got to
humanized. I mean, if a child dies somewhere else, I feel the same pain as a child dying down the street, I would say.
And you got a baby boy.
I do.
Let's see if he can get you to bring him on a little later.
Let's hope so. He's got a mind of his own, as you know how they have.
Yeah.
You
I have a little boy
yourself.
2 months difference, so maybe someday they can play together. So that'd be exciting.
Yeah, it ended up that Irene Bedard's boy was born the day after as well. He was born on the 18th, and yeah, we're trying to get it at the same time.
Well, I'm gonna get this book out for a little later because I wrote a poem last night.
Oh, you did?
And
nice.
I wasn't gonna even think about it, but it has to do with this rock thing. So we'll do that a little later, but I'll have it ready here for you.
Oh, great! I really liked Changes and Did We Do Enough?
Oh yeah. I don't know if we ever do.
Yeah, well,
there's always a step we can take. If everybody took one extra step today.
Or just a little extra words on the talking stick.
That's it.
Right. There you go.
So let's, catapult back. People haven't had a chance to meet you, some of our new viewers out there. Good-looking guy, used to be a model. You were on that side of the camera. Let's just sort of rehash that story a little bit for folks.
Well, I really like to be control of my art, and being a model is kind of difficult when they say, look here, do this, wear that, wear this, go here. I really liked being in control, and I didn't really see any ethnic people in fashion at the time, so I really wanted to show what I thought was beautiful, and that's what I got to do in a very lucky way.
You got broken into it by being spotted by a guy by the name of Andy Warhol.
That's true.
There you go.
A very strange fellow, but a very kind fellow.
Intense
to me.
stare, man.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah,
he really gave you his time for that 15 seconds.
Genius?
I would say, because I think the times were a different
Doesn't mean
time.
you can't be a screwball and a genius,
right,
by
no.
the way.
I think just because of everything was a frontier at that time, TV and music and the sexual generation, and I think that things, people just slipped into things sometimes at that time. I always say, gosh, I wish I was born 20 years earlier, because I would have loved to play with Bob Dylan in his heyday and some of the great poets that put it to music.
You mentioned Bob Dylan, and we were talking about Cat Stevens, and there's another guy that sort of, really started pursuing a spiritual dimension, although all of his music was about humanity and things like that. And then he got criticized for being Christian, for becoming a Christian for a while, and then he sort of leveled out, but Dylan did.
Right, from being a Jewish, and well, I think the arts make you search and give you time to contemplate.
And I say you can be all three at once, man, or
there
five, or six, or seven, or a pathless land.
Well, I think that's obvious.
Krishnamurti or a Native American. Finding it in the heart. We're going to take our break. And then I'll shut up, and you'll hear more about Carlos. Stay tuned.
Mi abuelita